Hey guys, welcome to another lesson. It is 1.3 in your textbook. It's on common factors and multiples. We've been dealing a lot with factors this week. We did multiples on the second day, and today I'm going to teach you something new in terms of how to find common factors and common multiples, and also find the greatest common factor, GCF, and the lowest common multiple between two numbers. So I'm just going to start with finding the greatest common factor of the numbers 36 and the numbers 48. So here is where, because it's factoring, here is where the prime factorization, which we did today, it's Friday, that's the day I'm recording this. So today in class, we did the prime factorization, and that's going to come into play here. So we're going to start with 36, and we're going to start to break it down into smaller factors. So 36 can be broken down into a couple of different ways. We could do 6 and 6. And now we look at 6 and 6. They're both composite numbers. They can be broken down more into 2 and 3, and here 2 and 3. And again, 2 and 3 and 2 and 3 are all prime numbers, so I'm going to circle them so I know that I'm finished and I don't have to break them down any further. Likewise, we're going to go to 48. I'm going to break it down into 6 and 8. 6 and 8 are both composite. We got to break them down even more. 3 and 2 for 6, and for 8, 4 and 2. Now, these are prime. We know that. 2 is also a prime, but 4 we can break down even more into 2 and 2. And I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to circle those because I want to make sure that it's clear that they're prime and I can't break them down any further. I'm just going to separate these two just so we don't get confused. So now what I want to do, if I want to try and find the greatest common factor, I'm going to actually draw a Venn diagram. Okay, so in my Venn diagram here, in one part of the circle, I'm going to have the prime factors of 36, and in the other circle, I'm going to have the prime factors of 48. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to look, and if we remember what a Venn diagram is, the two outer circles, like here and here, are what is different. And in the middle is always what we put, what is the same. So I'm going to look at all my prime factors here, and I'm going to say, okay, what's the same between 36 and 48? I'm going to start on the left-hand side. And I'm going to look at the number 2 under 36. Okay, so I'm going to look at the number 2 here, and I'm going to see if there's a 2 under the 48. And there is. So that's a common multiple. So I'm going to put that common multiple just one time in the middle of the Venn diagram. And I'm going to cross it off so I know that I've already dealt with it. Then I'm going to go to the next factor here. And I'm going to see that it's a 3. I'm going to look under 36, see that it's a 3, and see is there any 3 that's under 48. So is there any common factor between them? And there also is a 3 under 48. So I'm going to put that in the middle of the circle as well. I'm going to cross that off. Then I'm going to go to the next 2. I'm going to see, is there another 2 under 48? Yes, there is. There's a 2 right there. So that's another common factor. And again, I'm going to put that into the middle. And then I'm going to look at the last 3 under 36. And I'm going to see, is there a 3 under 48? And there isn't. So that means I'm going to put that 3 here. Cross it off so I know I've dealt with it. Then I'm going to look at the remaining factors that are under 48. There's 2 and another 2. So that's what's different for 48. So I'm going to put those 2 right there. So then if I'm trying to find the greatest common factor, I see that these are all the ones that are common in the middle here. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to find the product of those numbers, which means I'm going to multiply them all together. So I'm going to go 2 times 2 times 3, which is 12, which means that 12 is the greatest common factor between 36 and 48. Okay, I'm going to do another example for you. Let's do the numbers 27 and 42. So So let's kind of break this down. 27 obviously is a composite number, can be broken down into 9 and 3. 3 is a prime number, so I'm going to circle it. I'm done with that. And then 9 can be broken down further because it's a composite into 3 and 3. And I'm going to circle those to know that I'm done. Then I'm going to go to 42, and 42 can be broken down into 6 and 7 because 6 times 7 equals 42. 7 is a prime number, so I can circle it. I'm done with it. 6 can be broken down into 3 and 2, and we know that 3 and 2 are prime numbers, so now I'm done. So now I'm going to draw my Venn diagram, and I'm going to find the prime factors. I'm going to list them here for 27 and list them here for 42. So again, I'm going to look and see what is common between 27 and 42. I'm going to start on the left-hand side under 27. I'm going to see a 3 here. Is there a 3 also under the 42? Yes, there is. So I'm going to put that 3 in the middle to show that it's common. I'm going to cross it off. Cross off the 3 here, cross off the 3 here. Then I'm going to go to the next 3 under 27. Is there a 3 under the 42? No, there isn't. So that's what's different. So I'm going to go ahead and put the 3 here and cross it off because I know I'm done with it. Then I'm going to go to the next 3 under 27. Again, there isn't another 3 under 42, so that's also what's different. So I'm going to put it there, cross it off. And then we know that the remaining numbers for 42, the 2 and the 7, are also different. So I'm going to put them under the circle under the 42. And now to find the greatest common factor, again, I look at what's in the middle there. There's only a 3, so the greatest common factor is 3. If it was 3 and 4, for example, I would multiply 3 times 4 together to get 12, and 12 would be my greatest common factor. But there isn't. There's just 3, so that's going to be my common factor. Okay, I'm actually going to do the same example of 27 and 42, and now I'm going to show you how to find the lowest common multiple. So again, I'm going to break it down again. I'm going to do the whole thing. 3 and 3, circle them so I know they're prime. 42 is 6 and 7, that's prime. 3 and 2. Okay, so now these are my prime factors that I'm left with. Okay, so I've done the Venn diagram just like I did on the other page. And this time, to find the lowest common multiple, what you're going to do is you're going to multiply all excuse me, of the factors in the Venn diagram. So you're going to multiply 3 times 3 times 3 times 7 times 2, and that's going to give you 378. And that actually is the lowest common multiple of 27 and 42. I'm going to do one more example for you. I've set it up already. We're going to try and find the greatest common factor and the lowest common multiple of 18 and 35. I've already done the prime factorization. I found my prime factors, and I'm going to draw my Venn diagram now. So I'm going to put 18 here. I'm going to list the prime factors of 18, the prime factors of 35. First, what I'm going to do is I'm going to find what should go in the middle. So what's common between the two numbers. And what I find is if I go to the 3 under 18, there's a 3 under 18, but there's not a 3 under 35. Okay, so I'm going to put that under what's different. Obviously, that other 3 is not going to be common as well, so I'm going to put that here. I'm going to go to the 2 under the 18 here. Is there a 2 under the 35? Nope. So that's what's different. I'm going to put that under the 18. Then I'm going to go to 35. Again, 5 and 7 is it's just unique to 35. It doesn't share anything common with 18. So I'm going to put 5 there and 7 there. So there's nothing in the middle, which doesn't necessarily mean there isn't a greatest common factor. Because guess what the common factor would be between 18 and 35? If you also break it down, factors of 18 would be 1 and 18, and factors of 35 would be 1 and 35. So in actuality, the greatest common factor would be 1. So if you don't have anything in the middle of your Venn diagram, don't put that there is no greatest common factor. The greatest common factor would be 1. Okay? To find the lowest common multiple, again, I multiply all of the factors in the circle. So I'd multiply 3 times 3, get rid of those, times 2, times 5, times 7, and that is actually going to equal 630. So the lowest common multiple between 18 and 35 is 630. So now you see the reason behind why we do lowest common multiples this way. Otherwise, it would be forever for you guys to list out all the multiples and then find what's common. This is actually a faster way. Okay, so for your question tonight, I want you to find the greatest common factor and, and the lowest common multiple. Keep moving all that around. And the lowest common multiple of 48 and 60. Again, if this was a lot to take in, please watch the video again. Take notes while you're watching the video if you want. And if you could do this question on Google Classroom, that would be fantastic. Okay, guys, have a great weekend. See you Monday.